this is Herbert. Okay, so they're going across the plains. Many times during the trip, Indians came into the camp to trade hides, furs, and buckskins for provisions. One day, a young chief came into camp and in English stated,
"Hello, white man. We're here to trade white man things for these things. We're here to trade these many great things we have.
Blankets made by our finest princesses.
For a white woman.
I'll be the white one.
You want what?
A white woman.
This one here.
I have a beautiful sister. You can take her. We don't want
She'll
her.
work.
Give us 10 horses.
Okay.
Harley Driggs.
Yep.
Harley
See you tomorrow.
Driggs was just joking, but he told the Indians they could have this girl. And
Yeah, we'll come back for the horses tomorrow. We'll see you. Have a good one.
so all the boys were laughing as the chief left, but they sobered up very quickly when he returned with the horses in dead earnest for the trade.
I have here many head of horse for white woman.
Awesome. Thank you.
Come on.
Take her.
The boys finally convinced the chief that they had been joking, but a few days later, a very angry Indian chief with plenty of help stampeded the cattle.
We were just
Stampeded the
joking.
And about 90 head of the cattle were lost to the train. The journey was only half over, and the loss of this many oxen was terrible. So later, along the way, they finally started to gather up some strays. So anyway, finally, after all this excitement, Herbert finally arrives in Salt Lake, and he migrates and ends up in Springville, which is also kind of down by Provo, Cedar Hills, Pleasant Grove. So he did lots of odd jobs. He was there for 8 years by himself, working. Another exciting, he helped battle the grasshoppers. And he did lots of odd jobs going from farmer to farmer. But he also worked for one of his uncles in Springville who was a shoemaker. Herbert didn't like making shoes and he didn't want to do that. But when he first got there, he was glad he had that skill so he could help his uncle and pay for his room and board. Okay, Then, another time, he was up herding some cows, riding on his horse, and there came a big storm, and Herbert saying, "Come on, Major, get going, get going.
Come on,
you got to get out of this storm." Well, Major didn't want to hurry up, and all of a sudden, Ford, this huge lightning bolt came and and there was a doctor. Where's our
I'm the
doctor?
doctor, making my rounds. Oh my goodness!
So he's walking around and saw this fierce shaft of lightning, and being curious, he started out to see what he could find, and there he found Herbert. Herbert's shoes had been blown off. His face was burned. His chest was burned. And he tried to revive him, and it wasn't working. He could get no heartbeat. So he didn't know what to do. So he stood up, and he ran a quarter of a mile to get some help. His name is Dr. Hollinger. He ran and ran and ran until he found some help, and they came back to Herbert. Major died. The horse died. You're dead. And they got a bucket of water and thrown it.
Look, he moved.
He's alive!
Threw it on his face, and he revived. No, he didn't quite revive. Okay. So they returned with this large bucket of water, which they dashed over Herbert's breast on a blanket and dragged him on a blanket like an Indian.
The horse died.
The horse died. And after they got him home, they forced him to drink camphor oil, which made him vomit. I don't know why they did that. They placed cold packs upon his chest and administered to him. Give him a blessing. And Herbert finally regained full consciousness and was able to talk. But he was sick for 2 weeks, and they kept used castor oil, flour paste, and applied to his wounds. But eventually his wounds healed without any scarring, but he was partially deaf in one ear the rest of his life.